Okay, hey guys, what's going on? Give me a second here. Oh God, nothing is as good as water. Mm-mm-mm. So, what's going on, everybody? Drew Murphy here from Clarity Coaching and Consulting. Want to welcome you to today's webinar. Coming to you live from Stockholm, Sweden. It's a rainy day today, so it's a kind of a great day to sit inside and have a webinar, right? So, before we get into the webinar, those of you that are new, let me introduce myself. As I said, I'm Drew Murphy. I am a personal development coach. I specialize in helping my clients with self-worth, building on their self-worth um, so that they can go after those goals that they're trying to go after in life, right? Because the way I look at it, and I speak from personal experience. I know what it's like not to have confidence. I know what it's like not to have self-worth. I know what it's like not to hold yourself to a high, you know, standard or see yourself, as worthy or whatever, right? So once I did the work on myself, then I started realizing, hey, I can do this and I can help other people, right? So that's why I do it. But what I was going to say is self-worth. What was I going to say? I was going to say something about self-worth. Um, yeah, you can. So people say, oh, well, you say you want to help people get to their goals and blah, blah, blah. People can reach goals. Listen, you can get to the goal, whatever the goal is. If it's financial, if it's in a relationship goal, if it's a business goal, if it's a family goal, if it's whatever it is, the goal that you want to reach, you can get there, right? Even if it's a C goal, which is something we can talk about later. There's A, B, and C goals. Even if it's a C goal, you can reach that goal. But if you reach that goal and you still feel empty in here, or you still don't feel worthy, or you still don't love yourself the way you should here inside, then something's missing. And you'll have that goal, but you'll be empty. Then it'll be off balance. So that's why I specialize in self-worth, to help you be a well-rounded person that is able to go after those goals and believe in yourself and love yourself. And it's a big difference between self-worth and confidence, but that's a whole nother webinar. We'll do that another time. So that's pretty much who I am. That's pretty much what I do. If you're interested, you can go ahead and hit me up on the DMs, and we can go ahead and get started. Now, today's webinar, I'm not going to take up too much of your time. It's something that I know a lot of people, especially in today's society, are dealing with. Okay, you failed. Deal with it, right? Or, okay, you failed. So what? Right? That's the name of the webinar. Okay, you failed. So what? So we're talking about failure. And I know that's a big, big, big thing in society today. Like I said, I live in Stockholm, Sweden, but it's not just in Swedish society. It's in all societies. Failure is like super, taboo. And it feels like even now, today, even more so than before. I mean, it's always been one of those things that people talk about you if you fail, but it seems like now it's even more, you know, uh, at the forefront of everything, because you have social media, um, and you have, you know, the world, around you, family, the media, TV, movies, yeah, magazines, whatever, everything telling you what you should do and who you should be and how you should, follow these 5 steps and make these 3 steps and don't ever do these 3 things again and blah, 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 right? And it's everything is bombarding you. And so it's forcing you to be perfect, because you have to follow these things and do those things and try those things and not do those things. You got to be perfect. And if you fail, you're a loser, right? You failed. Right? So I'm here to tell you that failing is no big deal. And I'm here to tell you that failing is necessary. I'm here to tell you that failing is one of those things that it's a learning experience. And we're going to get into it. So what I want to do first is let's understand failure, okay? We'll talk about why failure happens. We'll talk about a little bit about the psychological effect, and then we'll talk a little bit about cultural perspective, okay? But first of all, why failure happens? What are the common causes of failure? And we're talking about failure in all different facets of life, right? Goals, you fail to reach your goal. You failed at this, you failed at that. Why? There's a few things, okay? There's a few reasons why failure happens. Risks, or risk calculation, miscalculation of risks, right? Unforeseen circumstances, right? But most of the time, failure happens because of lack of preparation, right? Lack of preparation. You got to prepare whatever the goal is, whatever it is you're trying to do, you got to be prepared. Like when I prepared for this webinar, if I failed at delivering this webinar, it's because I didn't prepare. Okay, I didn't prepare everything properly and have a full vision of what I need to do, irregardless of unforeseen circumstances pop up, or I calculated the risk, pardon me, and I prepared. So I'm not worried about failing. Does that make sense? You can still calculate, your risks and prepare and still fail because, like I say, you have unforeseen circumstances. But those are usually the reasons why failure happens. And one of the main things that you can do to combat or to decrease your chances of failing is staying prepared, right? Know the risks. Be realistic with yourself. Be self-aware. Be honest with yourself. A lot of people, are not honest with themselves. They are disillusioned by the internet or the social media or whatever. They believe the hype. They, drink their own Kool-Aid, so to speak. And, they get disillusioned, they get delusional, and then they end up failing and they don't understand why. Well, you got to be self-aware and you got to be honest. Can you really do that? Like realistically, right? So that's pretty much the thing about, why failure happens. Now, the psychological impact, the mental and emotional effects of failure. One of the main things is obviously disappointment, anxiety, self-doubt, mostly self-doubt and anxiety. And the anxiety comes from the fact that you're worried about what other people are going to say. What are they going to say? What are my parents going to say? What is my wife going to say? What is my coworkers going to say? What are they going to say on social media? That anxiety builds up because that's you failed and you're worried about what they're going to say. First of all, whatever they say doesn't matter. Let's get that understood. Pure and simple. What they say does not matter. Okay? If it's positive criticism, then you take it and you use it to better yourself. If it's negative criticism, you flush it out the window. It's simple as that. There's no other deep discussion that needs to be had about that, okay? If it's bullshit, throw it out the window. If it's constructive and you can learn from it, then do so accordingly. Okay, so that's the first thing. I stopped worrying about what other people think, oh my God, years ago. Like many, many years ago, I realized that it doesn't matter because people are going to think what they're going to think anyway. And so if you're running around trying to please this person, please that person, you're running around doing everything except what you need to do to be a better version of yourself, right? So that's that. But now, self-doubt, disappointment, of course, the psychological effects of failure. If you fail, you have self-doubt. Oh, I doubt that I can actually do it because I didn't do it. I failed. Look, I failed. Okay, well, if I failed at that, so I can't do this, I won't even try, right? I'm disappointed. I'm hurt. I'm, ashamed, right? Worried about what, everybody's saying these things about me. I feel, totally just, horrified and mortified by, this failure. It really knocked the wind out of me. Well, you know what? Screw it. I'm not going to try. That's it. I'm done. Okay. So now I know not to do that. I'm not doing it. I'm not even going to try. Instead of really looking at the failure and going, okay, where did it come from? Why did it happen? Let's analyze it and what we can learn from it, right? But the psychological aspect of failure, if you allow it, you allow yourself to have that self-doubt, that anxiety, that disappointment, that shame. And if you go that route with it, it'll paralyze you. Trust me. Trust me, I know from personal experience, it will paralyze you. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the cultural perspective, how different cultures view failure. Um, in most cultures, it's stigmatized as a bad thing, as something that people will always remember. Oh, he got successful, but I remember when he, oh, she's good now, but I remember when she failed. They stigmatize it. Other cultures, now I don't, not too many that I know of, but other cultures do actually look at failure as a stepping stone. But I don't think it's a cultural thing. I think it's a personal thing. I think it's depends on the group of people, the type of people you find yourself around. Not necessarily the culture, like where they come from, what country they live in or whatever, what language they speak or what religion they worship or practice or whatever. I think it's mostly the people that you find yourself around. And I surround myself with positive, forward thinking, people that understand that you're going to make a mistake, you're going to fail, you're going to fall, you're going to have an obstacle or a setback. That's supposed to happen, right? And once you realize that, and once you know that the fear of failure is bigger than the actual failure itself, you know what I'm saying? The fear of it is stronger than the actual failure, because if you fail at something, a business decision or something, okay, oh, okay, I failed. Now, what do I do? How do I fix it? Right? Stepping stone. How do I fix it? What is it that I did wrong? Where did I go wrong? What did I not prepare? Right? What risk did I not take into account? Right? Are there any other unforeseen things that happened that made this happen? Okay, stepping stone. That's how you gotta see failure. You can't see it as something that is going to paralyze you and keep you from trying. All right. So let's talk a little bit about the value of failure. Sounds kind of weird, right? The value of failure. Is there any value in failing? So there's a few things that I find. Excuse me. Drink a little water here. Throat's kind of dry. Oh, there we go. There's a few things that I find failure to be valuable, ways that failure can be valuable. One of those things is a learning opportunity. The other one is building resilience. It breeds innovation and creativity. And, I'll give you a real life example. So failure is an opportunity to learn by growing, right? Some people say, I think, who was it? Was it Thomas Edison? I think he said, I think he said, I haven't failed. I just figured out 10,000 ways that it doesn't work, right? Something like that. I think, don't quote me, but I think it was Thomas Edison that said something like that. I didn't just fail. I just found out 10,000 ways that it didn't work. It's perspective. It's how you see failure. It is a learning opportunity. Like I said earlier, what can I gain from this situation? Okay, that didn't work. I tried, oh, that didn't work either. Shit, okay. All right, well, okay, if that didn't work and that didn't work, then this has got to work. You understand? Learning opportunity. You learn about yourself. You learn that you say, I can speak for myself. I learned about myself. I learned that when I failed, I learned that I didn't have the discipline or the resilience to keep going as much as I thought I did when the failure came, especially when the big failures came, as far as, business and life and everything else. When those failures came, I had to take responsibility. I had to take accountability for myself. And I had to look at those failures and go, okay, why did they happen? And when I realized, if it was something that was, because of, my lack of preparation or something that I was responsible for, then I had to take responsibility for that. But at the same time, when the failure came, it also taught me at that time how I was not as resilient or as gung-ho, ready to go at it and inspired and motivated as I thought I was, right? Because a lot of times you think to yourself, oh yeah, no, if that happens, man, I can do this, I'm good. If that happens, don't worry about it, I'll just do this in your mind. But then that happens. And then you go, oh, and you realize that your resilience tank is empty. right? Then now you learned about yourself. Now you learned something and you say, okay, so now I got to learn how to build up my resilience by understanding. How do you do that? By understanding and building on this failure. Understanding and building on the failure. Building resilience, um, it builds character. You understand, okay, that happened, but I'm not going to stop. Now, if it's a goal that you're going after and you failed, you won't quit. You will have resilience and you will keep going and you will build on your resilience if you have a vision. Okay? I call it the why factor. Don't forget the why. Okay? The goal is the what. Yeah? The goal, that's the what. The vision is the why. Okay? Why do I want this goal? Whatever the goal is I'm trying to reach. Right? And as long as you remember that why, even when you fail, you'll be able to build your resilience back up because you will be able to say, well, I'm determined to keep going because this is a goal that I want to achieve because of X, Y, Z, right? So that's very important. That's very, very important. I think a lot of times people, they get into this thing about goals or just life in general, they're trying to, become better versions of themselves. They're trying to build on themselves and then shit happens and then they get all discombobulated and they get full of anxiety and fear and shame and all these other things. And they don't realize that, hey, why are you doing this? Why the goal that you set for yourself to become a better version in whatever facet, what's the reason that you're doing that? And once you realize that reason and you have a real valid reason and you stick to that, then you will never, ever worry about, the failure. It'll come, you'll fail, you might be, but you'll know, okay, if I fail, I know I can get back up. If I fail, I'm going to keep going because this is why I'm doing it. I think that's very important, okay? Now, innovation and creativity, another thing that failure teaches you. It teaches you that, okay, well, innovation, creativity, I got to get creative. I thought I could do it this way with the webinars, or I thought I could do it that way with the lectures or whatever it is, right? I thought I could go, shortcut this way. I can't do that because, well, got to get creative. So when you fail, you realize what didn't work, you get creative and you keep going. So those are some of the things that's, the reasons or, that I say failure is valuable. Okay. Now let's talk about a few strategies of dealing with failure. Now that's something a lot of people really do suffer and kind of, not know how to deal, because once they fail, they just, they fail and they just say, forget about it, screw it all. That's just, okay, screw it, I'm done, I failed. No. You have to deal with that failure. Now, how do you do that? There are some strategies that can help you deal with failure. Number one is, again, as I said earlier, be honest with yourself, right? And embrace reality. Just be real with yourself. Accept failure as a part of life rather than resisting it. You can't resist it. It's going to happen. You can't turn a blind eye to it. It's going to happen, right? So accept it. Okay, and accept the reality of you are the one that this happened to because you are the one that didn't prepare, or this is your mistake, this is your failure. It's okay. Now, when I say that, I don't say that like, oh, it's your fault and you suck and I'm not saying that you say that to yourself, putting yourself down, beating up on yourself, trashing yourself. That's not what I mean. What I mean is, okay, I failed. How am I to deal with this failure? Well, I have to accept that this is a failure and this is on me. Okay. So I did that. I messed up. Okay. Now, how do I fix that? What do I do so that doesn't happen again? What do I do to learn? What is it I need to learn? What lesson is in this particular situation that can help me, not just in the next time I do this particular thing, but, in other aspects or facets of life. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to you? So that's one of the things. Two main things that I like to talk about when it comes to strategies of dealing with failure is number one, embrace the reality. Like I said, keep it real, be honest with yourself and accept it. And number two, avoid blame. Okay? Don't focus on blaming others. Don't focus on blaming yourself. Okay? Take responsibility and move forward. Simple as that. Take responsibility for what it is, what happened, figure out how to fix it, and keep it pushing. You know, you don't need to beat up on yourself. You don't need to feel sorry for yourself. You don't need to blame other people, right? Because it's not other people's fault. It's yours. It's not other people's doing. It's yours. And you don't have to beat up yourself about it. You have to say it, admit it, understand it, accept it, and then fix it by moving forward. All right? So that is pretty much it. I was going to go into building resilience and some other practical, action plans, but I think I'm going to save that for another time. This has been a really quick one. I hope this, came out to the point where somebody can get something from it. I hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you for your time. And if you got something out of this, then go ahead and do me a favor and leave me a comment. All right, comment below and let me know, what you thought about it and whatnot. Now, again, if you're interested in coaching and you want to know more about my coaching, go ahead and DM me and we'll go ahead and get started. All right. Until next time, you guys take care of yourselves and take care of one another, and I will talk to you later.